Hey guys, welcome back to markdillon.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, do me a big favor and click the subscribe button. I would really appreciate it. So, on to tonight's question, which is a little bit different from William. He says, Dear Mark, I hope you will answer this. I love your video advice blog, but I've never seen you comment on current events or any political issue. Since you are from Mississippi, do you have an opinion about individuals or states who choose to use the Confederate flag as a way to show pride for their heritage? I know it's not your usual type of blog, but I would really like to hear you comment. All right, William. Well, first of all, I have uh, no objection to discussing politics or current events or anything on my YouTube channel. When I first started this thing, it was a way for me to be more interactive. So that's why it has the question and answer format. So I basically answer whatever it is that you guys send me. So the main reason that I haven't talked about anything political or current events or things like that is quite simply I just don't get those questions. So if you have something you'd like to ask me about, any of you, feel free to send it. Um, also, if you follow me on Twitter, which I hope you are, you know that I tweet a lot about finance and investing and business and some politics and a lot of current events. So follow me on Twitter too. Your question, William, is one that I think we all could sit around and discuss for quite some time. In terms of this individual issue, I think it's rather cut and dry for me. Although I think you said individuals or states, so I have somewhat of a different answer for both. I think that individuals, whether we agree with them or not, have the right to express themselves however they choose, so long as it's within the law and there's no tangible harm done to anybody. That includes being able to fly a flag, no matter how stupid we may think that is. Um, I don't see why you would ever want to put the Confederate flag over your front door in your yard, but if you choose to do so, that's your right. And if I want the right to express myself freely, I in turn have to respect that right for other people. Like I said, so long as it's within the law and there's no tangible harm to anybody else, and that does not mean you're offended. That does not mean you're made to feel uncomfortable. That to me, that's not real world harm, because we all do things, we all say things that somebody else could say makes them feel uncomfortable. So, we in some cases just have to say, you know what, we have to get over it. I don't agree with this person, but I have to respect their right to express themselves that way. And that's how I feel about individuals who choose to, use the Confederate flag to display some sort of pride for their heritage. Why they would want to do that, I have no clue. I think it's something you should be ashamed of rather than proud of. But, again, they have the right to do that. Governments, on the other hand, I think um, there's no gray area. I don't think a government should ever show respect or reverence for that period in history, because it was the state governments who instituted those laws and enforced them, and who denied so many people the most basic of human rights. So I would never want to see a Confederate flag over a state capital that at one point would have created laws that denied people their freedoms. I would never want to see a Confederate flag over a courthouse that at one point denied people justice for the crimes committed against them. So why any state senator or representative or governor would ever make the argument that the Confederate flag is an appropriate way to show respect for for their heritage, I'll never know. That makes no sense to me. Because the bigger question is, what part of your heritage are you showing pride in? The fact that the South wanted to secede from the United States to preserve slavery, to deny an entire race of people their freedom and liberty? Is that the part of your heritage you're proud of? And I just, for me, it's so unfathomable that someone would actually come out and say, this flag is part of our heritage and we're proud of that. That flag represents the fact that the Confederacy seceded from the Union and started a war to preserve slavery, for God's sake. There's nothing to be proud of about that. And also, just because something is part of your heritage or your history, by no means does that mean that it should be celebrated, any more than a recovering alcoholic should celebrate his history by going into the bar and having a shot. Some parts of your history are not meant to be celebrated. We all make mistakes. Hopefully we learn from those mistakes and we move on. We don't celebrate those mistakes, for God's sakes. We don't show honor and reverence to bad decisions, particularly ones that harmed other people. So again, William, I can't in any way, shape, or form say that there's any justifiable or logical reason for a state government to display the Confederate flag. I think that it's disgusting for them to do so, because government was the agent that denied so many people rights during that time, and it should. I think a governor or senator or any member of a state government should be proud to say the Confederate flag no longer represents our state today. We're glad that flag is part of our distant history, and we're not proud of it. That flag represents the worst that our state had to offer, not the best. Um, I'm almost at a loss for words, William, because I could go on and on with all those reasons, but it becomes rather redundant. Um, I guess people make comparisons to saying, well, what if somebody chose to fly the Nazi flag? Um, uh, I would say that an individual has the right to do that if they want. But how would we feel if we saw, let's say, for example, the German embassy in the U.S. flying the Nazi flag? There would be riots in the street, and people would be saying, "That's it! You close down the German embassy. How dare they show respect or any kind of pride in that part of their history when they caused so much harm to the world and all of that nonsense." So, if we can all probably agree on that part of it, I don't see how you can make any other argument against a government using the Confederate flag in any way, shape, or form. I just, for the life of me, can't figure out what it is people find to be prideful during that point in history. I would say that I wouldn't want anything to do with that damn flag. I think that it's ludicrous and nonsensical to say that it's simply a way to celebrate your heritage, plain and simple. Because again, the bigger question comes back: what is the heritage that you're celebrating, and does that deserve to be celebrated? Just that simple. I find it to be a bit of a straw man's argument when someone just says, well, it's my heritage. No, we have to go a little bit deeper than that. That you don't get away with saying, well, the Confederate flag is okay because it's part of your history and your heritage. We need to look a little bit deeper and say, okay, well, what in that history and heritage should you be so proud of? And again, the truth is the Confederate flag does not represent the best that the South had to offer. It represents the fact that a group of states decided to break away from the United States because they wanted so desperately to preserve the right to deny an entire group of people their freedom. Again, William, I can't go on anymore because it's redundant, but stupid, idiotic, ridiculous, no place in today's society. That's my opinion. So, guys, if you have any political issues, current events, or anything that you'd like my take on, feel free to email me. I will be glad to discuss them. Thank you for tuning in. And again, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or check me out on markdillon.com.